everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Shine at the Park. If you're new here, this is the space where I love to gather what I call beautiful pebbles. Those unique, raw, and authentic stories from everyday people that remind us of the beauty in being beautifully human. Today, I am incredibly excited because I have invited a very dear friend of mine all the way from Australia. Her name is Alicia Curtis, and to say she is an expert speaker would be an understatement. She is a five-time Distinguished Toastmaster who has spent the last 16 years leading, speaking, and inspiring people across the globe. But today's episode, titled Stepping Off the Stage and Into the Future, is about a massive turning point in her life. So, let's welcome the wonderfully blunt and vibrant Alicia Curtis. Enjoy the episode, everyone.
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. I'm a five times Distinguished Toastmaster from Sydney, Australia, and I've been in Toastmasters, which is where Cheyenne and I met about 3 to 4 years ago for 16 years. And it's actually upcoming 16 years in November of this year. I've been there since I was 26 years of age. Big times.
Wow, 16 years. So, how is the journey so far? Do you enjoy
Yeah,
to be the Distinguished Toastmaster?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It is coming slowly to an end very shortly. I will be phasing myself out very shortly from Toastmasters to focus on my professional career now as a professional sports commentator. It's been an interesting journey over the last 16 years. I've had the highs, I've had the lows, I've had it's been a very interesting journey. I've been all around the world with Toastmasters. It's taken me to places like the Middle East to speak. It's taken me to Indonesia, where I got to speak in 2015 in front of almost 1,000 people. It's taken me to the USA online. It has been a very amazing journey.
Okay, I didn't know about that. Like you were actually thinking about leaving Toastmasters. I'm so sad, but at the same time, I'm really happy for you as well. So, do you think Toastmasters changed your way to see the world or way to see the challenges?
Yeah, it definitely has. So Toastmasters for me has changed my whole career and everything I have started to do in life. So back in 2022, part of this journey when I got really sick, I had to somehow come up with ways to reinvent myself. I had to actually work out what could I do now that I can't work a full-time job. So I went back to university. I got the confidence thanks to Toastmasters. I now am a professional sports commentator thanks to Toastmasters. And I am looking at other potential career opportunities thanks to the skills and opportunities I have gained from Toastmasters. And I always say with Toastmasters, it's the skills that you gain and the opportunities of the people that you meet. It's not what you know, it's who you know, it's how the doors open, and take each opportunity and run with it.
Okay. That's kind of new. Actually, I was going to dig in your personal story, but before then, I can't actually stop asking you these kind of questions because how did you make the path to the professional, I don't know, like occupation that you could take through the Toastmasters journey? So, how did it really practically help you to get the job?
Absolutely. So, as a professional sports commentator, it is literally the ballroom dancing of speaking. You have to be able to speak in unison and parallel with your co-commentator. But what it does with Toastmasters is I can be able to think on my feet. Unlike when you don't do Toastmasters, many of us come to Toastmasters and think, how am I going to speak for 1 minute and have an opening, a body, and a close? That's what's, I guess, Toastmasters in particular, table topics, the impromptu speaking has been able to help me deliver. When I deliver in the live setting, I have to be able to deliver on my feet, impromptu speaking, and I have to watch the game as it unfolds, and I have to tell the story. And I do have to have an opening, I do have to have a body, and I do have to have a close. But I have to have a continuous engagement with my speaking. So that's what Toastmasters has taught me to do, to be able to fill the void and to be able to think and speak whilst I think and whilst I speak and put those two together. Some things that a lot of people don't know how to do before they join Toastmasters. So being able to gain that confidence to think on your feet and to speak naturally and with a clear authority when delivering.
Okay, so this is the great format or outlet that we can earn how to speak impromptu, like speeches and also build up those kind of like skills that we need as a commenter. Oh, that's
Absolutely. So it gives you the confidence to be able to speak. I wouldn't have been speaking to you 16 years ago when I look back at 2010 when I joined Toastmasters. If you had told me in 2010, in 16 years' time, I would be sitting here being able to deliver off the cuff, not prepared for tonight's session, I would have said, put me back in my room and let me cry.
Mm, I cannot imagine you doing that because, as I know, Alicia Curtis is the esteemed Toastmaster who knows how to deliver any kind of speeches. So, Alicia, I have a question then. You have this incredibly vibrant energy and you aren't afraid to talk to anyone, but true confidence is rarely a given. So it's usually forged through times when we feel very small. So how did you actually build this inner muscle? You mentioned about Toastmasters, but beside Toastmasters as well, like how did you build that incredible courage?
I guess it's always been there. However, I am not the most confident person. I'm going to be absolutely upfront. I think most people who, yeah, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, that's not true. Yeah, it is true. I am not a confident person. I lack a lot of confidence. I have a lot of people have low self-esteem. Am not the highest in the self-esteem department, but you know what? One of the things that I guess Toastmasters does for me, and I'm just making sure that the internet connection is still working here whilst we're recording, is I guess confidence for me is about trusting myself. So when we go to Toastmasters, when we do a table topic, thinking about the question but not launching into it straight away, which is what we see a lot of people do, especially the new members and the guests that just go bang straight into it. Having the confidence to reflect and then to speak. And that's one of the things that I have when it comes to the confidence. Yeah.
Okay, so revise the speeches and actually go back to the ones that you've already delivered. So evaluate yourself would be helpful, you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So internally evaluating myself because the greatest critic of oneself is oneself. You can watch a video, and I always say to people, and this is one of the things I would encourage for us at Young Spirit Toastmasters, is probably to record our meetings and to record the speeches and to go back and watch them personally. Because when you watch yourself, you go, oh, I didn't do this. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, I'm not good enough. And then you actually are your own worst enemy because you're critiquing yourself, but that's the way that you actually build the muscle of confidence is actually going in and critiquing yourself.
Oh, I didn't even realize that because I thought you born with that confidence, but actually you built the muscle. Mm.
Yes.
So was there a specific moment in your life where you distinctly remember choosing to speak up instead of hiding? Like the milestone that you can say?
Well, you and I both know I am a very outspoken individual. You've seen that at the meetings, haven't you? And I do not hold back if I need to say what's needed to be said because I'll be blunt. I'm Australian. Australians are very blunt, direct and to the point. You've seen the other Australian members as well. We're quite bang into it. And I guess that is another reason for the confidence is being direct and being able to actually, you know, believe in yourself to say, yeah, this is not the right thing. And if it's not good, it's not good. And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be upfront. I'm going to be blunt and I'll speak, speak what I have to speak. And sometimes the filter is not filtered. It goes unfiltered. And it comes across as, oh my gosh, what the heck is she going to say next? But I prefer to be like that. It's me, it's who I am, and it's me being honest. It's me being truthful. It's me being my own personal true self. And it may not be the most humble, sweet pie, but sometimes, we've got to do those type of things. We've got to be blunt and direct.
I love as who you are, Alicia. Be blunt and vibrant. And first time when I met you, I thought about it. Like this person I know, she is kind of too straightforward. But now what I'm thinking, she's being vulnerable. She wants to share what she understands, and it's really beautiful. And I remember you were talking about even my speech, um, when you were evaluating my speech about the art piece. It's haunting and it was really
Yeah.
great. But also people to things that I need to improve. That was very helpful too. And
Yeah, I remember that speech. That was your third speech in Toastmaster. I think it was 2021
mm,
or 2022 that you delivered that. And it was your personal creation of the artwork that you had on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. And it showcased a very person in a fractured society, if I'm not mistaken. This is going back, 3 to 4 years ago. And it showcased who you were. And we got to see who you are as the artist. And I think, I've been the one pushing you a few times, and then we ended up with the art gallery moment
yeah,
a few months ago.
yeah. Right. So it was very helpful for me to move forward. So I feel really thankful that you are being blunt with what you are saying because honestly, it was very helpful for me. And next, you are going to be a sports commentator. Well, you are now. So I wonder, our culture constantly tells us we need to be flawless, strong, and always on. But being human means we all have inherent limitations, and whether they are physical, emotional, or mental. How did you learn to make peace with your own human limitations rather than fighting against them? Because I know you had those moments like, I don't feel good today, I feel kind of sick, or, like those kind of days, but how do you deal with it?
That is a really good question, Shine. And I've been sick again. As you know, I am like the human disease book. I am like the cookbook of diseases, to put it bluntly. And I have to take each day. One of the things with my illness is I have to take each day as it comes because I have an autoimmune disorder. It's not an easy thing to live with. The last couple of weeks, I've actually been pretty much sick in bed, caught up in bed. I spent one whole week literally in bed for the whole week. So I have to play each day as it comes. And I have to work out what each day represents. Like today, I wasn't feeling great. Yesterday, I was feeling terrible. But, you get up and you go, okay, I can't stay in bed because this is not going to get me anywhere. So all I did was I got up yesterday. I was like, you know what? I've been invited to my other nonprofit organization for a planning day, and that's actually Rotary. That's what I'm now getting heavily involved in. And I'm going to actually commit a couple of hours to this, and then I can come home, and on the way I can get something like a pizza or something, just to, to try and be able
Yeah.
to, yeah, the pizza. Today I wasn't feeling great, but I thought, what, I'm going to actually challenge myself. I'm going to get the bus, then I'm going to get the train, and then I'm actually going to go to one of my other favorite fast food restaurants, which for all the viewers who are watching, I'm a lover of fast food, but this is actually healthy fast food. It's Mexican, Australian version of Mexican. So I'm going to hop on the train and I'm going to go to the shopping mall and I'm going to actually have Guzman y Gomez. And I got there as soon as I got there, I ate it and I came back because I knew I wasn't feeling great. So I pushed myself, but I stay within certain boundaries. So when I'm actually out and sick, I'm not well, I stick within a certain radius of say 20 to 30 kilometers. So I know I can get home within an hour because otherwise I don't want to be out on the road traveling and all that. So I have restrictions, boundaries. There are certain things I can and cannot eat. I restrict myself to that. I also watch every single thing that goes into my body. And don't worry, I'm not eating McDonald's, KFC, and Pizza Hut and all the other stuff every day. I watch every single thing I eat, down to like even the little dots on the pizza, just because, I'm not going to go out and eat like this big chunky pizza. It's actually going to be like a vegetarian one just to make sure, and gluten free as well. That's how crazy my life is.
Mm, that's really inspiring. Even though there are physical and mental challenges you face every day, you try your best to motivate yourself to move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if I stay in bed, that's going to get me depressed. And yes, it does. I sometimes have to stay in bed for a whole day just to pick up and be able to be active for the rest of the week. So I'll sacrifice 1 or 2 days to be able to take on something very big.
Before I got to know you, I was just saying and thinking, oh, she must be just having the happiest life in Australia. She maybe enjoys the nature so much and she doesn't have any kind of limitations. Like people naturally look to you for inspirational and positivity and inclusion, but carrying that bright energy can be heavy, isn't it? Because you also have the downsides.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, as we know, I'm the biggest introvert on the planet, right? No, I'm not an introvert. I'm an extrovert. I can see your face going, you're not an introvert, you're an extrovert. And I guess I bounce off other people a lot. And, I'm always the busy one. I'm always the loud one, the talkative one. And so when I do get sick, I go into the, oh my God, I'm an introvert mode. Not because I choose to, but because I'm in that position physically, mentally, and emotionally. I'm like, I'm not going to be, oh my God, I'm really happy to be sick and I'm going to tell you all about my life and how I did this and how I did that and how I spent my day in bed. No, but I will go into, I need to hibernate and all that. But yes, it does carry a bearing weight. Mentally, especially, it gets very depressing being sick because I'm very limited in a lot of activities I can do. 4 or 5 years ago, before everything, went boom, I was the most active person. I was going here, going there. I was doing this, I was doing that. I was everywhere here. I could do, 5 to 6 Toastmasters meetings a day. I'm lucky to even do one Toastmasters meeting every single week now because I'm just so run down and tired. So I take each opportunity, and I also have the ability to say the most difficult word on the planet. No. I've actually learned how to say no. It's a powerful word, and it's one sentence in itself.
Cool. So when can you say that like when the energy runs out, like you actually hold that space by saying no, like no
Yeah.
to the
Yeah,
people? Yeah.
I used to be the yes. Yeah, I used to be a yes person all the time. Like 10 years ago when I was doing Toastmasters and when I was in my prime. I'm not in my prime anymore. I have to admit that. when I was really active. I was doing everything. I was going everywhere. I was doing everything. Yes, I look like the Energizer Bunny now, but think about me a decade ago when I was about, I'm just trying to think, I was about 33, 34 years of age. And I was like, boom, I was walking, I was driving, I was doing anything, I was moving around. I learned after I got sick, 4 years ago, it's been 4 years since I got sick, that I had to learn to look after myself. I had to trust my body and understand that my body knows when the word no, and no is a very powerful word, and you have to learn to say it because otherwise you're going to get burnt out, and that's what happens.
Right, right. I think it's really important to have the balance. And another question that I have for
Yes.
you. Mm, in public speaking, we practice until everything is seamless, but real life is incredibly messy. Can you share a story of a major failure in your life or career, a time when things completely fell apart and you had to just stand there and look at the mess and embarrass your own human imperfection? So, which means like not physically, but like I know you're such a great speaker, but have you ever made a mistake on a stage in a podium, maybe?
Look, I've made many interesting mistakes in my life, especially my working career. I couldn't name you one single one that actually stands out because I've had so many. And I'll be honest, I'm going to be upfront. I never write my speeches. I say them off the top of my head. I never prepare. I never write them. I make them up as I go because that has taken me a very long time. That's a skill that takes at least 10 years to gain. So I've probably been doing it for the last, how long have I been in Toastmasters for 16 years? Probably the last decade. I just started in around 2015, 2016. I was like, sometimes you've actually just got to drop the pen, drop the paper, and just speak from in here. And I have made some mistakes doing that because sometimes I just sound like a raging lunatic and I sound like I'm raving on about nothing. I guess one of the mistakes I've made in my journey, knowing Toastmasters being my work career, was how I approach people, saying, being the advocate for Toastmasters. And I'll share a really interesting story. It's not a failure. It's how we actually shouldn't be direct and how we approach managers in a position when they're actually umming and ahhing. We count the ums and ahs, the filler words. They
Hmm.
sound really bad, especially from the politicians. I'm sure you've heard it. I
Yeah.
remember one of our senior people at one of my offices, and she held the chief operating officer position. We were at the end of financial year party. I was sitting at the end of the table with her, and I said to her, bluntly, because one is truly blunt and speaks their mind. I said, "You and ah, and you say a lot of filler words. I think you need to stop. When you talk, you need to stop talking and think about what you say." This was over 12 years ago. This was 12 years ago. I can see your face going, you actually said that? Yeah, I did. Anyway, she looked at me in shock and horror. She was actually a practicing nun. I was like I didn't realize she was a nun. And anyway, about 2 weeks later, we were at a morning meeting. We had a team meeting. The whole office was at the team meeting. Just before we were about to leave, she said, "I just want to make a comment." And I'm like thinking, oh yeah, she's probably going to tell us not to be loud, not to play the music in the lunchroom, etc. Someone at the June 30 party mentioned that I say a lot of filler words and ums and ahs, and every face has just turned and looked at me, and my alarm light just got bright red like a lobster and like a tomato. I was like, oh. My manager, Quinton, that was his name, looked at me and has just gone, "Oh God, what have you?" And he looked at me and he's like, "What did you say? Like, what did you say?" And then she said, "I happened to be watching." Something to do with the government, the Australian, I think it was business time or something. It's something to do with the government, and they were in Parliament. And she said, I was watching how they and and then she said I recorded myself and I listened to myself, and I couldn't believe how many ums and ahs I've said. So thank you very much, Alicia, for pointing out how many filler
Oh,
words. Yeah.
oh, it went
How
well
many
then.
filler words? It went a lot better than what I was expecting. I was expecting to
Mm,
lose my job. I was expecting to lose my
mm.
job. My manager pulled me into his office. He said, "Did you really say that?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Were you drinking?" I go, "No." And he goes, "But don't say that again." Thank you, Quinton. I love you dearly, and I do like that guy. He was a great manager. He was fantastic. And the poor lady, I've forgotten her name. She must have thought, oh dear, someone who is a rogue who's gone out and spoken their minds. This was one of the things. I always spoke my mind and I always did speak my mind at every single job. And
So,
it usually went in my favor.
so what do you think if somebody is being blunt in front of you and say directly to you, like, oh, you have this problem or that problem, would you be acceptable? You think?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Mm,
because um the only way that we can grow and develop is if someone speaks the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. We
mm,
all know that the truth hurts. It's like ripping off the band-aid and there's the blood and all the pus coming out and you're like, oh, this is not a really, but you realize the only way that you're going to resolve that is if you clean it up and if you actually review how you actually look at the situation. So I know it's a disgusting analogy, but rip the band-aid off, look at the incident and go, yeah, I think I need to do something about that.
that's a good story. I can imagine you can say that to like a person directly like that, but I hope, like people don't take you that way. Alicia is such a good person, just being direct, sometimes a little too much, but that's lovely.
A little bit too much, yeah. Mm.
Um, uh, it's going to be our last question, Alicia. So this is just
That's
out
okay.
of the script. After you finish your Toastmasters journey, do you think you're gonna miss this?
Do you want the honest truth? No.
Being
I've
blunt?
been in Toastmasters for, I've been blunt. No, I've been in Toastmasters for 16 years. It's been a great journey, but all journeys have to come to an end, right?
Hmm.
It's like you can't have, the restaurant can't be continuing on for 1,000 years. And I've gotten a lot out of Toastmasters. As I said, I've got 5 Distinguished Toastmaster awards. Only 1% of all Toastmasters ever in members ever earn one. I've got 5. How many people do we know? I think there's only 2 of us in the club that have a DTM, myself and David. And I have been in district leadership for the last 11 years straight. Let me just put that there. 11 years straight. That's all I've done. I could go back, I could do the contests and all that, but I don't like the contests. I hate the contests. I don't believe in them. I believe in seeing the growth of the members, seeing the growth of the club and the future. I've also worked out I want to put my skills that I've learnt in Toastmasters into other areas and avenues. So yes, I will miss the people, but I won't miss the actual, I've got to do a speech. Oh, I've got to do an evaluation. Oh, I'm going to have to do a table topic. I might occasionally, drop into Toastmasters meetings, but I want to finalize and put it to an end, put it to a close, and move on to the next thing. I know that you're going, oh, this is not the greatest thing I wanted to hear tonight. But I am so excited about, Rotary. I'm going to follow, everything in Rotary, and I'm also joining Lions clubs as well. So I'm going into the other 2 non-profit organizations. Rotary has a big um, big relationship with Toastmasters. A lot of people don't realize it. I was actually at my Rotary Club yesterday, at the planning meeting, and I'm already getting involved in stuff because I have a mouth and I opened it quite a lot yesterday, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to do this, oh, you're going to do that," and so I don't understand a lot of the stuff that they do. They do projects and they do project management and fundraising. So it's going to be interesting applying, the skills I have in Toastmasters, the confident speaking, being able to think on my feet, providing feedback into the Rotary scene because they were asking for
Mhm.
feedback. They were asking for what can you do? I've been a public relations manager in Toastmasters. I'm going to do all the public relations now and the social media for Rotary in my club, which then could potentially push me into the district level. And then
Mm.
I've got a new background in insurance. So that is also something they're now going to put all their projects in front of me. I've got to do the insurance risk assessment, send it off to the not Toastmasters, the Rotary District, and get the assessment back and work because that's my professional background originally. So to push that as well. So I'm able to use my skills in a different capability. And you never know, I might end up being a district governor in Rotary, and that is something, that I may potentially look at down the line.
You know what? I believe in you. And you're wrong. Actually,
Thank you.
I was going to say I'm rooting for you, Alicia, and I'm so happy for you because I know every sentence has a period and every chapter has the end. And it's going to be a
Yeah,
new whole chapter for you. And it's such an exciting moment
yeah,
that we need to celebrate. And I'm glad that Toastmasters experience opened up a new gate for you. This is something that
yeah.
I learned from you tonight. Um, yeah, like I thought like my Toastmasters journey was only to gain the speaking skills that I needed, but it opened
Mm,
me another gate to be a host of a podcast. And I'm learning so much
yeah,
from other people, through the interviews I have. And it's such a great journey that I'm taking because it's quite interesting. And meeting them and having the deeper conversation, it's really meaningful for me. So I know what you are
yeah,
saying.
absolutely. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, would you have thought you were going to be doing this 4 years ago, that you were going to be sitting up on a Sunday night at like
No,
10 p.m. my time, 9 p.m. your time? You were very shy and introverted doing your paintings and your artwork, your personal
right?
artwork, and now you're doing podcasting of all things.
Mm-hmm. Never imagined, but I'm here. So you're right. Just challenging ourselves and yeah, like try to be like I don't know, like authentic and blunt sometimes, it will bring us the new
Yes.
opportunity to see the different side of the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you, Alicia, for this chance to get to know you more. And I'm so happy for you, Alicia, even though I have the feeling that I'm so sad. I like to see Alicia more often when I have meetings because you are my mentor. Like I
Oh,
always
thank you,
wanted to
Cheyenne.
be like you. So yeah, we are here rooting for you. So best luck for you. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Cheyenne.
And that brings us to the end of an incredibly moving conversation today. As we heard in our chat, Alicia has decided to close her long, remarkable chapter with Toastmasters, to completely pivot her career into becoming a professional live sports commentator. We dove deep into how she built her fierce inner courage, how she deals with chronic illness, and what it truly takes to step away from your comfort zone and walk boldly into the unknown. It is always a little bittersweet when a mentor and a close friend closes a major door, but Alicia beautifully reminded us today that every sentence needs a period and every great story needs a new page. Thank you, Alicia. You are a true mentor for me. We're gonna miss you, but we will still rooting for you. Thank you everyone for joining Shine English today, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.